When you think of someone who's depressed, you'll probably picture someone sad, exhausted, and hopeless. But did you know that tucked inside the fog of depression is actually something surprising and almost paradoxical? See, if you've ever spoken at length with a depressed person or been deep in the throes of it yourself, you might find a sharp, almost ruthless kind of logic. Some people who struggle with depression notice they become more realistic, more analytical, and in some ways more rational than non-depressed people. It may sound counterintuitive. How can a condition defined by emotional pain sharpen logic? But psychology and neuroscience suggest that depressed minds often process reality with a level of sober clarity that can be startling. So let's dive deeper and understand why. Depression as reality filtering. One of the most well-known ideas in psychology is the depressive realism hypothesis. First proposed in 1988, this theory suggests that people with mild to moderate depression sometimes see reality more accurately than those without depression. To test this, they conducted an experiment and asked participants to judge how much control they have over a light bulb turning on. Non-depressed participants tended to overestimate their influence, believing their button presses were making the light appear when in reality it was random. Depressed participants, however, were far more accurate. They didn't assume control where there was none. While further evidence has been mixed and inconclusive, there's certainly an argument to be made that while most people lean towards optimism or self-serving biases, depression seems to strip away those comforting illusions. The logic of loss. Depression is often triggered by experiences of loss, relationships, opportunities, health, or meaning. When your world has shifted in painful ways, the brain adjusts by trying to make sense of it, and logic becomes a survival tool. Think about grief. It forces us to confront what really matters, but it also disrupts cognition. Studies show it can impair focus, memory, and decision-making, and it's common to bargain or shoulder irrational guilt. Yet paradoxically, this same process can sharpen logic. Stripped of optimism or distraction, the mind reduces life to bare essentials. What remains is narrowed, sober clarity, not flexible or hopeful, but piercingly realistic. For example, psychologists studying analytical rumination suggest depression evolved to help us zero in on complex problems. When the brain can't lean on hope or distraction, it shifts into problem-solving mode, forcing us to analyze causes and consequences in exhaustive detail. That's why many people report that during depression, they suddenly notice things they hadn't before or question long-held assumptions. The neurology of emotion versus reason. On the neurological level, depression changes how the brain processes information. The brain's reward system, centered on dopamine pathways, often becomes less responsive. Things that once brought joy feel flat. Without the pull of reward, the brain isn't swayed as much by rose-colored thinking. Some studies also suggest depressed people showed increased activity in the prefrontal cortex, responsible for planning, reasoning, and evaluating consequences. The result? A colder, less emotionally biased approach to decisions. Of course, this doesn't always feel like a gift. The same analytic style that spots logical inconsistencies also notices life's unfairness with brutal clarity. But it does explain why many people in depression find themselves drawn to philosophy, problem solving, or brutally honest self-reflection. Philosophy, stoicism, and the depressed mind. History is full of philosophies that sound a lot like the thoughts of someone in depression. Stoic philosophers, for example, taught people to detach from emotions, face hard truths, and prepare for the worst. Existentialists like Kierkegaard and Sartre wrote about despair as an unavoidable condition of human existence. For someone who's depressed, these ideas often feel less like abstract theories and more like lived experience, putting words to what they already feel. When optimism has been stripped away, when joy is no longer guaranteed, philosophies built on logic, acceptance, and meaning-making over blind hope can feel more honest than simple positive thinking. For many, it's comforting to hear the Stoic reminder that pain is part of life, or the existentialist claim that meaning must be created, not found. These ideas show that depressive clarity isn't just illness. It's part of a long human tradition of seeking wisdom in hard truths. The cost of too much logic. Of course, it's not all hidden strength. The logic of depression can easily turn into paralysis. When you see every possible downside, risks feel impossible to take. If you know relationships can end, jobs can collapse, and futures can derail, it's hard to find reason to try. This is the double-edged sword of depressive clarity. It's rational, but not always helpful. We need both realism and optimism to function. Without hope, logic grows heavy, stripping life of motivation. That's why therapists rarely tell people to just think positive. Instead, they encourage holding both truths. Yes, life is fragile and unfair. And yes, despite that, meaning and joy are still worth reaching for. So, are depressed people more logical? In some ways, yeah. Depression strips away comforting illusions, offsets positivity biases, and pushes the brain toward analysis. But logic without hope is incomplete. The challenge and the healing lies in integrating both, holding on to the clarity depression provides while slowly reintroducing warmth, optimism, and the possibility of joy. In that sense, depressed logic isn't something to cure, but something to rebalance. If depression has ever made you feel like a cold observer of your own life, know this: your logic is survival instinct. It's your brain's way of saying, if I can understand it, I can survive it. Respecting that doesn't mean glorifying suffering, but honoring that clarity while still holding space for hope. So, did this video emotionally resonate with you? How have you seen logic and hope coexist in your own life? Share your thoughts below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more conversations that matter. Thanks for watching.